Earlier in this series of lessons, which, by the way, are all available on the Pyburn Street Church of Christ YouTube channel, we discussed the question, what is the church? Well, a related question, and one that will come up from time to time, is about what local churches are supposed to be doing. Of course, if you ask various people, you'll likely get many different answers. And this is the reason why there is an almost limitless number of activities and ministries offered by churches today. But is it necessary or even good for churches to be involved in all these different things? Well, today we're going to be discussing what the Bible tells us about the work of the church. Well, first, the New Testament must be what determines this. This goes back to our previous discussion on Bible authority. Jesus has all authority, so we're to do what He has instructed us to do. And this includes what we do individually as well as collectively in the local church. Paul told Timothy, retain the standard of sound words which you have heard from me in the faith and love which are in Christ Jesus. 2 Timothy 1 and verse 13. Whatever is done by a local church must be in harmony with the New Testament pattern. First, we see that the church is to do the work of evangelism. Evangelism has to do with proclaiming the gospel and teaching those who are not yet Christians. The church is the pillar and the ground of the truth, 1 Timothy 3 and verse 15. And by upholding and defending the truth, the church will necessarily be involved in the work of evangelism. The church in Thessalonica is a great example of this. In his first letter to them, Paul wrote, "For the word of the Lord has sounded forth from you, not only in Macedonia and Achaia, but also in every place your faith toward God has gone forth, so that we have no need to say anything." 1 Thessalonians 1 and verse 8. And like this congregation, churches today need to be spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ in their communities and throughout the world. Next, we see that the church is to do the work of edification. And this is about strengthening and building up those who are part of the church. The church is described in the New Testament as a self-edifying body. Paul wrote, "From whom the whole body, being fitted and held together by what every joint supplies, according to the proper working of each individual part, causes the growth of the body for the building up of itself in love." Ephesians 4 and verse 16. And as each part works together, we're all encouraged, strengthened, and equipped. This is one of the reasons why it's so important that we assemble together. The writer of Hebrews said, "Let us consider how to stimulate one another to love and good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together as the manner of some is, but encouraging or exhorting one another, and so much the more as you see the day approaching." Hebrews 10 verses 24 and 25. Those who make a habit of missing the assemblies of the church are failing to participate in and benefit from one of the primary works of the Lord's church. But also the church is authorized to do the work of benevolence. And this was worded differently than the two previous points for a reason. Evangelism and edification are to be constant, ongoing works of the church. Now, there will always be a need for spreading the gospel. There will always be a need for encouraging the brethren. But in contrast, benevolence is something that is done as needed. An example of this was the church in Antioch. Upon hearing of the needs among the Christians in Judea, they determined to send a contribution to help these brethren in Acts 11 verses 29 through 30. But this would be a temporary situation, not something that was a constant need. Now we also see that the scriptures tell us that we are to do good unto all people, not just those who are of the household of faith. Now there are some who want to restrict their benevolent assistance only to those who are Christians. But as Paul says in this passage in Galatians 6 and verse 10, we are to be ready to assist all that we have the ability to assist, to come to their aid, to help them with the needs that they have. And we see examples in the scriptures of widows being helped, of orphans being helped, those in time of need were being cared for by the church. So what is the work of the church? The New Testament describes the church's work as spreading the gospel, building up its own, and helping those who are in need. Adding other works is not only unauthorized, but they distract from the work that God has given the church to do. So let us work together in our local churches to do what the Lord has instructed us to do, to grow the church, to edify the church, to save souls, to help those in need, and above all, to help people get to heaven. Friends, we thank you for joining us for our program today, and have a blessed day.